Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn and Grow with PD. This is our Java for Beginners series, and in this video we are going to understand constructors. We all know how we create an object. So let's consider this example where we have a class called as demo, and then we have a main method, and we have created an object from that class. Now let's understand each of the terms. This is called a separator. New is a keyword. Here D1 is a reference variable where we are keeping this object. So let me write here. And demo, which is a class name, is actually the data type of D1. So this is going to be class name. You know what this demo is? This is called as a constructor. So, constructors are definition blocks which are used to create or construct an object. So, this constructor is used to create an object. Let's see the rules for defining a constructor. The constructor's name should be same as the class name. As we see, then it should not have the return type and it can have parameters. Okay, now when we write an object, a constructor is invoked. So let's see how the constructor looks. So in this case, the constructor will look like demo, which is a class name, and this. So this is called as a constructor. The constructors are special kind of methods. When we create an object, the constructors gets invoked. If we have not created any constructor, a default constructor is invoked. So let's understand the types of constructors now. So there are two types. One is default and the other one is user defined or parameterized. The constructor which is created by the compiler is the default. So when we create an object, a default constructor is created by the compiler if user, that is if we don't create any constructor. Okay, and for user defined or parameterized constructors, the constructors have the arguments or the parameters. So for example, in the same, if we give some parameters here, say string name, so this is a parameterized constructor, and compiler will not create the parameterized constructor like it creates for the default. User must create it. Okay, we have an example here. So the same example, public class demo, and then we have a main method and we have created an object. Even if we don't create a constructor, compiler will create a default constructor which looks like this. Now if we have a parameterized constructor, say demo int a int b, and we are creating an object and we give parameters, a parameterized constructor will get called. If we don't give parameters, a default constructor will be called. Also, we need to note this point, which is compiler will not create a parameterized constructor and the user must create it. So let's understand these notes. If there are no constructors present, then compiler creates a default constructor, just as in this case, and they don't have any parameters. Constructors are implicitly called whenever the objects are created. So, as again discussed before, if we create an object, even if we don't create a constructor, it will be called. Okay, we will understand one more point here. If you look at the constructor, it looks similar to method. So constructors are also called as special type of methods. Only the difference is, first, it will have same name as the class name, and second, it will not have any return type like how we have in case of methods. Now let's understand one more concept, which is constructor overloading. So when we create more than one constructor for a class, we call it constructor overloading. In this case, for example, we have created two constructors. what are the rules to overload the constructors? First, number of arguments should be different, or type of argument should be different, or the sequence of arguments should be different. Here's an example for that. So for example, we have created a class called discount, and these are the three constructors that we have created. First, discount int a and float b. Second constructor is float a and int b. As we have seen, the arguments should be different, or the types of arguments, or the sequence. And we have one more, that is int a, int b, and float c. So this is called constructor overloading. I hope this was easy to understand. You understood what a constructor is and how it gets invoked. Then we have two types of constructors. One is default and one is parameterized or user defined. And we have understood what constructor overloading is, and we have understood the rules of creating a constructor and the rules to overload the constructor. Let's understand this with the help of an example. Now let's consider that you are taking an admission in a college and you have to fill a registration form. The registration form has some details called name, age. Let's create default constructors, then parameterized, and let's see constructor overloading with this example. So I have created a class called students, and I am just creating one default constructor. Okay, in the main method, okay, first let me create an object. Students s1 is equal to new students. As we know, object is created with a new keyword. And let me also print the object. So when we print this, the object address is going to get printed. Okay, so this is the object address. Here, in this case, the default constructor got called, which looked similar to this one. Now I'm going to add okay, before adding the print statement, let me add some variables. So it is going to be string name and int age. So as we discussed, this is going to be a registration form. So this dot name is equal to unknown, and this dot age is equal to 0. This is our default constructor. Okay, first let me create a method. I have not created any method. I'm going to create a method called display. So void is the return type, void display. And if you see this, the method and the constructors look similar, except the methods has the return type and constructor doesn't. Okay. So in this method, I'm going to print name and age. Let me write something so that it's easy to differentiate. What happened? Let me count it. Okay, so yes. Now I'm going to call this method via object, that is s1.display. Let me run this. Okay. So as a JVM, first is going to print the address and then s1.display, where it is going to display unknown and 0 because a default constructor is called. We had put no parameters inside. I'm creating one more constructor now, which will have a parameter called string name, and this dot name is equal to name, and this dot name refers to the class name, and the name without this refers to the parameter inside the constructor. Okay, let me create the object for the parameterized constructors to get invoked. So student S2 is equal to new students, and I'm going to give a parameter. And now let me also display this S2.display. Okay. Now name Priya, age 0. Since we had only the string name as the parameter was the input, it took age as default. I'm creating another constructor now with string name int age. This dot name is equal to name, and this dot age is equal to age. An object with parameters students. I am inputting some string and also the int for age. So it will invoke this constructor that we have created with 2 parameters, and I am also going to display it. Let's run it. Yeah. So if you see this, the third constructor got invoked with 2 parameters. In this video, we created 3 constructors, a default and parameterized one, and also understood constructor overloading. If you like this video, then please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.